Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be presenting in the Global Summit, and I'm very thankful also for the organizers and IASAS for this opportunity to be here and to present Erasmus Skills, a project that I've been coordinating till last month. My name is Adriana Perez-Encinas. I'm lecturer and researcher at Universidad Autónoma de Madrid in Spain. And it's my pleasure to introduce you the topic of Erasmus Skills. Erasmus Skills is a project that provides a set of innovative tools to help Erasmus students, but not only Erasmus students, also other types of mobility students, to enhance and acknowledge the soft skills and competencies that they gain thanks to the mobility experience. And not only provides a set of innovative tools for the students, also for university teachers and practitioners. We wanted to prepare some tools and to provide some resources that university staff members could also use to support this acquisition of soft skills in the students. The aim of the project, mainly the aim is to help students better understand and verbalize the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that they gain during their mobility experience. We all know that is very good and is also proven in research that if students do mobility, that they might gain, that there are some benefits attached to that. But it's difficult for a student how to put this, for example, in a CV, or how to transfer this information to an employer, even to realize them themselves. Also, we wanted to encourage a more active and engaged European citizenship, as well as critical thinking in mobility students, and to engage universities in supporting knowledge, skills, and attitudes before, during, and after this experience. The objective to provide with a self-assessment tool that I will show in a minute. We have created a tool that allows students to self-reflect on these KSAs before the mobility and after, also to provide a visual representation of this data, and to provide some guidelines to university staff members and practitioners on how to help to support students to be more conscious about the competencies acquired in this mobility. As I mentioned before, also to provide a context to student learning mobility by anchoring it in the European integration process, and to produce a methodology for embedding mobility-related knowledge, skills, and attitudes to the curriculum. These are the partners that have been working on this project, and we are very open also to see more initiatives coming from other parts of the world, because it will be good also to continue this research with other populations. Then I believe that the findings will be very interesting. So the first result, or the first intellectual output that we have been working on, was to define a theoretical framework. For us, it was very important to reply to the question, like, what are the competencies, knowledge, skills, and attitudes as we understand them to begin in this mobility experience? And for that, we use different literature from different authors, and of course also the intercultural competence model by Darla Dierdorf. After that, we also wanted to see which kind of good management practice were done in European institutions, helping the students identify in these cases in all these international student life cycles, so before, during, and after the mobility. What we found was, like, in the stage of before mobility, there were quite some initiatives. Here you can just see a couple of them. And on the right, you see the KSAs that they were tackling. Also, during mobility, there were some initiatives on student integration. They were doing welcome meetings, accompaniment initiatives, and student engagement, but they were non-initiative found in the last part of the cycle on the returning. So this is an important point that I believe requires further research. After that, after we had this theoretical framework, we have created a self-assessment questionnaire and also some recommendations. So this self-assessment questionnaire, we created and we have been testing it with the students. And then we produce some recommendations for students on how to maximize these soft skills in the learning curve before, during, and after. Here, I'm just projecting some of them, just a screenshot of the information, but all of this can be found also in our webpage, all the documentation, and also you can write me if you want more information in detail. Then we created, after having this theoretical framework, we created this questionnaire, and then this questionnaire we converted into, we embedded the questionnaire in a tool that is inside the Erasmus Plus mobile app, and we call it self-assessment tool in Erasmus Skills, and students can just self-assess the knowledge, skills, and attitudes based on the items that are projected here, like, for example, knowledge, socio-linguistic awareness, technical skills, self-awareness, cultural knowledge, and about the skills, communication, organizational skills, negotiation, languages, and also attitudes, confidence, open-mindedness, European identity, transcultural understanding, and so on. Important point that I was mentioning before is that the student can do this self-assessment before the mobility and after, and has the data directly. After doing this, they have the data in a visual representation. So this is very interesting for the students themselves. Well, in the Erasmus Plus mobile app, they can find like a list of things that they have to have in mind before they go abroad, for example. And one of the things is to self-assess these skills. And also, after mobility, they have the self-assessment tool integrated. What else we have done? I would like to mention in here 2 webinars that we have created and we have recorded that are available to be used on linking the intercultural competencies with the European project, and also on translating acquired competencies into employability opportunities. These are recorded webinars that institutions can use and students can watch to learn more about these 2 topics. And also some information, some workshop guidelines that maybe are useful also for some of you or some institutions that want to create training session or workshops on the aforementioned issues, which kind of steps they have to follow. And finally, our last intellectual output is related to the learning mobility outcomes in the curricula. We wanted to support universities in integrating these learning mobility outcomes, the international intercultural competencies into their programs. And by that, we have created a methodology that can be useful for institutions to use and to follow to see if more actions can be taking place, not only from the international offices, but also for the programs that we are offering for the students. So just to wrap up, I would like to mention some takeaways from the Erasmus Skills project. The Erasmus Skills tools, the self-assessment questionnaire, could be one of these actions that we integrate or we add to this international student life cycle journey to all the services we offer. So maybe in the returning part could be one of the actions that we have seen that not much has been doing on the returning part. Also, these workshop guidelines and webinars could be very useful for universities to overcome this gap. The methodology guide, also just like a guide that can help you if in your institution you want to integrate learning mobility outcomes more in the programs. And we also believe that the Erasmus Skills can be a great promoter of SDGs. In the global agenda of the global agenda of the higher education institutions, in their mission, they are always talking about internationalization, and always they put the emphasis on mobility. So mobility is so important and is so related to many of the sustainable development goals that we believe that this type of projects to help them, the students, acknowledge and self-reflect on their knowledge, skills, and attitudes before the mobility and after could be something very useful and very enriching for the students themselves, but also for the institutions also to see where they have to place the focus more based on the results received. So thank you very much for your attention. And here you can find my email and also the webpage of the project where you can download information. Thank you very much. Looking forward for being in touch.